Sun Tzu arrived at the court of King Helu carrying a brush, not a sword. He looked like a scholar. He spoke like a philosopher. The king almost dismissed him. But Sun Tzu did not argue. He did not prove himself. He simply waited until the king had no other options. Then he was given command of the entire army. He appeared weak until the moment he was not. Sun Tzu wrote this in Chapter 1 of The Art of War. All warfare is based on deception. When able to attack, seem unable. When near, make the enemy believe you are far away. He was not teaching trickery. He was teaching something harder. Most people show their strength too early. They want to be seen. They want to be respected. They want the world to know they are not to be underestimated. So they announce their plans. They display their skills. They prove themselves before the game has even started. And then they lose. Not because they are weak, because they revealed what they had. Sun Tzu understood that the enemy who sees your full strength will prepare for it. He will study it. He will find its weakness. And then he will break it. But the enemy who sees only weakness grows arrogant. He stops preparing. He stops thinking. He walks right into your hands. You have been doing the opposite your entire life. You think honesty means showing everything. You think vulnerability means exposing every card. That is not strength. That is handing the enemy your own throat. The version of you that hides is not weak. The version of you that waits to reveal is not dishonest. That version is winning before the fight begins. Sun Tzu learned this watching armies that had every advantage lose to armies that had nothing but deception. The stronger army showed up. The weaker army hid. And the weaker army won. Not because they were lucky. Because they understood something you do not. You feel the pressure to prove yourself. In meetings, in conversations, in every room where someone might doubt you. You rush to show what you know. You interrupt with the answer. You raise your hand before the question is finished. You are not doing this because you are arrogant. You are doing it because you are afraid. Afraid they will not see you. Afraid they will think you are not enough. So you show them everything. And then you have nothing left. Think about the last time you started something new. A job. A relationship. A creative project. You probably told everyone. You announced your intentions. And then the excitement faded. The pressure grew. And you quit before anyone saw the result. That is not a failure of commitment. That is a failure of concealment. You showed your hand before the game began. Sun Tzu warned that the general who reveals his strength loses the element of surprise. The need to be seen is not confidence. It is the opposite. Confidence does not need to announce itself. It simply acts. The falcon does not scream before it dives. The crossbow does not click before it fires. The river does not roar before it floods. They move in silence. And they win. Sun Tzu said all warfare is based on deception. You keep announcing your plans. You keep explaining your potential. You keep telling people what you are going to do instead of just doing it. Every word you speak before the action is energy you cannot get back. Every person you tell is an expectation you cannot escape. Sun Tzu said all warfare is based on deception. Silence is not weakness. Silence is storage. Silence is where strength lives until the moment it is needed. The soldier in the back row does not speak. He waits. And when the moment comes, he is the one still standing. But here is what most people get wrong. They think hiding strength means hiding, period. They think Sun Tzu was asking you to be small. That is not what he meant. He meant let the enemy see what you want them to see. Use their assumptions against them. The enemy assumes you are weak because you are quiet. Good. Let them assume. While they are busy underestimating you, you are busy building. The struggle is not that you cannot win. The struggle is that you keep telling everyone how you are going to win. And in doing so, you give them the map. Sun Tzu wrote that water avoids the high places and rushes downward. It does not announce its path. It simply flows to the lowest point and fills it. That is how water defeats stone. Not by crashing into it, by wearing it away slowly, silently, without ever raising its voice. He taught that the same principle applies to you. Stop announcing. Start acting. Stop explaining. Start becoming. Stop seeking approval. Start building in silence. That is the transformation. You stop needing to be seen. You stop needing to be validated. You stop needing to prove yourself to people who are not even paying attention. You simply do the work. You build the thing. You become the person who does not need to say I am strong because the results say it for you. He knew this because he watched kingdoms fall to smaller armies. Not because the smaller army was braver. Because the smaller army understood something the larger army did not. The larger army arrived with banners flying and drums beating. The smaller army arrived in silence. The larger army spent its energy announcing. The smaller army spent its energy acting. The larger army lost. Every time. Generals have been studying that pattern for 2,500 years and most people still get it wrong. You do not need to prove anything today. You do not need to announce your plans. You do not need to convince anyone that you are capable. You just need to do the next thing. Silently, without explaining, without justifying, just doing. That is what Sun Tzu meant when he said to appear weak when you are strong. Not to become weak, to become invisible, and to strike when no one is watching. But Sun Tzu did not just teach this. He lived it, and what he did next proved it. So here's where you are right now. You have been losing battles you could have won. Not because you are not strong enough. You are losing because you keep showing your strength too early. You keep telling people what you can do instead of doing it. You keep seeking approval instead of seeking results. Sun Tzu said to appear weak when you are strong. To seem unable when you are able. To hide your best soldiers in the back. This is not dishonesty. This is discipline. It is the discipline to let the enemy underestimate you. To let the world overlook you. To do the work in silence while everyone else is busy talking. The version of you that announces is the version of you that loses. The version of you that builds in silence does not lose. Because no one sees it coming. And by the time they do, it is too late. Most people spend their entire lives seeking to be seen. They post. They explain. They justify. And they wonder why nothing compounds. The person who builds in silence for 3 years will always outpace the person who announced for 3 years. Silence is not hiding. Silence is preparation. And preparation is where every real victory begins. The river does not announce when it is about to overflow. It simply fills. And then it moves. That is what you are doing now, filling in silence, waiting for the moment. You win by building in silence, not by announcing what you are going to do. I appear weak to win strong. I appear weak to win strong. I appear weak to win strong.